What's up guys, today I'm going to show you how to make fast impact transitions like 9headache, so let's just get right into the video. Alright, so I already imported some clips that kind of flow with each other. For example, here it goes to the right, and then here as well, and then here as well. So that's the first step, honestly. You need clips that flow well with each other, otherwise you won't have impact anyways. So usually you would add some velocity on here, which I didn't for now, but we're just going to start off with the bankrop, because the velocity is just something extra which is not necessary for this tutorial. So we're just going to make a null layer like this and then cut it really quick. Alright, and then let's just create some extra movement here on the transition. So we'll link it to the null layer with this icon here and then drag it onto here. Alright, and now you want to press S and scale it a little and then press P. Now let's move it up a little. And then here we're going to drag it to the left, and now we're going to separate our dimensions. So right click and then separate dimensions. Now we're only going to use the X value, so keyframe it. And then towards the end, we're going to move it to the right. Make sure you don't overdo it, because otherwise you'll get these black bars. And you can fix this with an effect called motion tiles or CC repeat tile. But it's usually better to just keep it in frame. And then you want to select your keyframes, press F9 and then go into the graph editor. And then here you want to make a graph that looks like this. Alright, and now as you can see, it has some more impact and some more movement. You can even move it a little closer. Okay, and just make sure the last keyframe is not on this frame here, but on the frame just before it. But this is actually your actual ending frame, which some people get wrong. They think this is your ending frame, but this is already the next clip actually. So make sure to put it here. Alright, then on the next clip we're going to do the exact same thing, but then for the beginning. So make sure to link them. Then you want to separate the dimensions again and only work with the X value. And then here you can make it a little longer and let's just move it to the right. Okay, and then the exact same thing. You just go into the graph editor and then this time you want to make a graph that looks like this. Alright, and now as you can see, our clips just blend in with each other way better. Alright, then we can make another keyframe here. And then here at the ending frame as well. And let's make it go to the left. And then go into the graph editor. And let's just make a graph like this again. Alright, and then on the last clip you want to do the same thing too. Alright, so this is the graph I made for it. Basically the same thing. And now as you can see, it also flows in each other way better. Alright, now to make these transitions way more impactful, we want to use a lot of blur and a lot of exposure effects, or even some glitch effects, just like 9headache does. So we want to make an adjustment layer, Ctrl-Alt+Y. And then let's go 3 frames before it and cut it here. And then maybe 5 frames after it. Alright, like this. And I always like to add a marker here with the asterisk key to know where the impact is. Alright, so here we want to add an effect called directional blur. You can use the stock one, or you can also use S directional blur, which I prefer. Or it's actually S blur directional. Alright, and then here you can set the angle to 0 because we're moving horizontally. So you always want to make sure it's moving along the direction your clip is moving. Now let's increase it by a lot and make a keyframe. Alright, then let's go to the beginning, press U. And then let's make another keyframe and set it to 0. And then on the end, we also want to set it to 0. Let's extend it a little more actually. Alright, then select them all, press F9 and go into the graph editor. And then here, you've seen this graph before in my tutorials probably. It's just a basic impact graph, so you want to make something like this. Alright, so now we got some blur going on. We want to make it even more impactful actually, so something like this. And then we want to add an effect called minimax, and we want to set it to maximum, and then set it to horizontal. If your clip is moving from the top to the bottom or in reverse, you just want to set it to vertical. For now, we'll set it to horizontal, and you want to increase it by a lot as well, like this. And we want to keyframe the radius the exact same way we keyframe the blur. And now let's make the exact same graph. Alright, maybe we can stretch this one a little bit, like this. Alright, and then the last thing is to add some kind of glitch effect, but we're not going to use it for like an actual visible glitch or anything. We're just going to use it for one frame to make it even more impactful. So we're going to use Pixditter because I always like this effect. And then we'll set it to a preset, for example, horizontal 2x2. So this one looks pretty good. You just want to make it look as abstract as possible. And then here the switch, you just want to choose some random preset, which looks good for you. For example, this one might be a little too harsh. We'll actually have to see. This might look cool actually. So the next thing you want to do is just go down to your effect. So here, the Pixditter, and then go to compositing options And then here you can just make a keyframe on 100%. And then just before it, we're going to make it 0. And then just after it, we're going to make it 0 as well. All right, and if you think it's like a little too harsh, for example, in this case, there's 2 ways to fix it. You can either choose a different preset, or you can either move this keyframe here and then make another one and set it to 100. So the effects still apply. And then here you can just choose a different one. So maybe 6-bit RGB, which is a little more close to the original clip. And then of course you want to keyframe this, so just press on the switch and then go here and then go to your previous one. So that was Apple L, or however you pronounce it. All right, and now as you can see, it smooths in a little better. All right, so this is how you make transitions like 9headache. You can go even more crazy with this. Just make sure it's as fast as possible on the transition, and just make sure there's like a lot of blur and stuff. All right, hopefully you've learned a lot, and if you did, make sure to subscribe. And if you want me to help you even more with After Effects, then make sure to go to the first link in the description down below. All right, bye-bye.